Hello and welcome to KG Graves, the new one-on-one series where I focus on just one celebrity. Please like, subscribe and hit the bell for more content like this. Thank you to those of you who have already subscribed. This is number 20, Richard Nixon, at the Richard Nixon Library and Birthplace in Yorbalinda, Orange County, California, USA. Please watch to the end of the video to see pictures of the helicopter grounds and the First Lady's dresses. Richard Milhouse Nixon was born on the 9th of January 1913 in Yorba Linda, California, in the house built by his father, which was located on his family's lemon ranch. His upbringing was influenced by Quaker observances of the time, such as abstinence from alcohol, dancing and swearing. In 1933 he became engaged to Ola Florence Welsh, daughter of the Whitaker police chief, but they broke up in 1935. In 1934 he was accepted at the New Duke University School of Law, earning a scholarship, and was elected president of the Duke Bar Association. After graduating from Duke, he was admitted to the California Bar in 1937 and began practicing in Whittier with the law firm Wingate and Buehler. His work concentrated on commercial litigation for legal petroleum companies as well as on wills. However, he was reluctant to work on divorce cases, disliking frank sexual talk with women. In 1938, Richard was cast in the Whittier Community Players production of The Dark Tower. There he played opposite a high school teacher named Thelma Pat Ryan. After being turned down several times, Pat agreed to date Richard. Once they began their courtship, Pat was also reluctant to marry him, dating for a further 2 years before she accepted his proposal. They got married in a small ceremony on the 21st of June 1940. After a honeymoon in Mexico, they began their married life in Whittier. They had 2 daughters, Tricia born in 1946 and Julie born in 1948. Richard applied to join the Navy and he was appointed a lieutenant junior grade in the United States Naval Reserve on the 15th of June 1942. After taking various roles in the Navy, he was promoted to lieutenant on the 1st of October 1943. He worked meticulously and efficiently throughout his period and received 2 letters of commendation, resulting in a promotion on the 3rd of October 1945 to lieutenant commander. Richard's rise through the ranks continued, but on the 10th of March 1946 he was relieved of active duty. In 1949 he applied to run for the United States Senate. In 1952, General Dwight D. Eisenhower was nominated for president by the Republicans. He had no strong preference for his vice presidential candidate, but was asked to consider Richard, who eventually got the position. On the 1st of June 1953 he was promoted to commander in the US Naval Reserve. On the 24th of September 1955, President Eisenhower suffered a heart attack and his condition was initially believed to be life-threatening. He was unable to perform his duties for 6 weeks. Richard took over responsibility during this time, presiding over cabinet meetings and ensuring that aides and cabinet officers did not seek power. Richard sought a second term, but some of Eisenhower's aides aimed to displace him. However, this did not happen, and both Eisenhower and Richard were both re-elected for a second term in November 1956 by a clear margin. In 1960, Richard launched his first campaign for President of the United States. His Democratic opponent was John F. Kennedy, and the race remained close for the duration. Richard narrowly lost the election, with Kennedy winning the popular vote by only 112,827 votes, 0.2%. On the 6th of June 1966, he retired from the US Navy Reserve. At the end of 1967, Richard told his family he planned to run for president a second time. He believed that with the Democrats torn over the issue of the Vietnam War, a Republican had a good chance of winning. He secured the nomination on the first ballot and selected Maryland Governor Spiro Agnew as his running mate, a choice which he believed would unite the party, appealing both to northern moderates and the southerners disaffected with the Democrats. Throughout the campaign, Richard portrayed himself as a figure of stability during this period of national unrest and upheaval. He applied to what he later called silent majority. He waged a prominent television advertising campaign with supporters in front of cameras, stressing that the crime rate was too high. He also promised peace with honor in the Vietnam War and proclaimed that new leadership will end the war and win peace in the Pacific. In a three-way race between Richard, Humphrey, and American Independent Party candidate George Wallace, he defeated Humphrey by nearly 500,000 votes, less than a percentage point, with 301 electoral votes to 191 for Humphrey and 46 for Wallace. He became the first non-incumbent vice president to be elected president. Richard was inaugurated as president on the 20th of January 1969, sworn in by his one-time political rival, Chief Justice Earl Warren. After nearly a decade-long national effort, the United States won the race to land astronauts on the moon on the 20th of July 1969 with the flight of Apollo 11. He spoke with Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin during the moonwalk. He called the conversation the most historic phone call ever made from the White House. However, he was unwilling to keep funding the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, at the high levels seen during the 1960s as NASA prepared to send men to the moon. NASA Administrator Thomas O. Paine drew up ambitious plans for the establishment of a permanent base on the moon by the end of the 1970s and the launch of a crewed expedition to Mars as early as 1981. Richard rejected both proposals due to the expense. He also cancelled the Air Force Manned Orbital Laboratory program in 1969 because unmanned spy satellites were a more cost-efficient way to achieve the same reconnaissance objective. NASA cancelled the last three planned Apollo lunar missions to place Skylab in orbit more efficiently and free up money for the design and construction of the space shuttle. On May 24, 1972, Richard approved a 5-year cooperative program between NASA and the Soviet space program, culminating in the 1975 joint mission of an American Apollo and Soviet Soyuz spacecraft linking in space. On the 5th of January 1972, Richard entered his name in the New Hampshire primary ballot, effectively announces his candidacy for re-election. He was successfully re-elected on the 7th of May 1972 in one of the biggest landslide election victories in American history. Next came the Watergate scandal. The term Watergate has come to represent a list of illegal activities undertaken by members of his administration. Those activities included dirty tricks such as bugging the offices of political opponents and the harassment of activist groups and political figures. The activities were brought to light after 5 men were caught breaking into the Democratic Party headquarters at the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C. on the 17th of June 1972. Considering his loss of political support and the near certainty that he would be impeached and removed from office, Richard resigned the presidency on the 9th of August 1974, after addressing the nation on television the previous evening. The resignation speech was delivered from the Oval Office and was broadcast live on radio and television. He said he was resigning for the good of the country and asked the nation to support the new president, Gerald Ford. His resignation had not put an end to the desire among many to see him punished. The Ford White House considered a pardon for Richard, even though it would be unpopular in the country. Richard, contacted by Ford emissaries, was initially reluctant to accept the pardon, but then agreed to do so. Ford insisted on a statement of contrition, but he felt he had not committed any crimes and should not have to issue such a document. Ford eventually agreed, and on the 8th of September 1974, he granted Richard a full, free and absolute pardon, which ended any possibility of an indictment. In early 1978, Richard went to the United Kingdom. He was shunned by American diplomats and by most ministers of the James Callaghan government. He was, however, welcomed by the leader of the opposition, Margaret Thatcher, as well as by former Prime Minister Sir Harold Wilson. Two other former Prime Ministers, Harold Macmillan and Edward Heath, declined to meet him. In summary, Richard was the 37th US President, serving from 1969 to 1974, a member of the Republican Party, with his wife and First Lady Pat, born Thelma Catherine Ryan on the 16th of March 1912. Richard suffered a severe stroke on the 18th of April 1994 while preparing to eat dinner in his Park Ridge, New Jersey home. This resulted in a blood clot which broke off and travelled to his brain, causing swelling, and he slipped into a deep coma. He died on the 22nd of April 1994 at the age of 81. Richard's funeral took place on the 27th of April 1994 in yorbalinda, California. Eulogists at the ceremony, including President Bill Clinton, former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, Senate Minority Leader Bob Dole, California Governor Pete Wilson, and the Reverend Billy Graham. Also in attendance were former Presidents Ford, Carter, Reagan, George H.W. Bush, and their wives. Let's see where his grave is located. So, there you have it, the grave of Richard Nixon, the 37th US President of America. If you have enjoyed watching this video, then please like, subscribe and hit the bell for more content like this. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.